Hello, love. How are you? Been quite a while since we've talked in heart to heart like this, as if there's two things here. It's very interesting, though, when we do pretend to be two different things that it's talking to you, that are talking together, where there's a sense of that I can come to you with, I can come to you with anything, really. I can come to you with my everyday adventure, and I can come to you with my when things are crashing down on me. That happens. And this is relativity, remember? And if everything is crashing all the time and building back up just so it can crash again. And, my life has been like that for the last few years with the illness. And, when being disabled affected my ability to deliver the kinds of videos I used to, which, I was this lit up guy, and I'm still lit up inside, but I'm not lit up like this. I'm wiser by a long shot. I've learned a great deal. I've surrendered a great deal, but there's always more. There's always more. So it's my pledge to try to be open at every moment to giving up the new thing, whatever the new thing is. We surrender. Oh God, we give up our problems. We give up our attachments and things like that to best that we can. And boy, you turn right around and we're doing it again. Isn't that the way of it? Yeah, I did that for so many years. 24 years, I think it was. And since then, we've had a different relationship. It's been much better. But we're now having a new relationship again, which is this one, which is where I don't have to be anybody else. I can just be us. I can just be Fred with awakeness speaking through it, or whatever you want to say. There's no Fred, but Fredness, yeah, through the body. And we don't have to worry about talking, especially non-dual or not. I mean, there's no way to talk any other way because this is it. So this is a non-dual conversation. It's occurring where? It's occurring within non-duality. This is it. This is non-duality. We're all hot to discover non-duality, to connect with non-duality, to find non-duality. This is it. This is non-duality. I know it's very, very difficult to take that on board. I was not a quick learner. 24 years is not. They're not going to put you at the front of the classroom. But I'm not on the dunce chair either. It did come, and it came through a lot of pain and a lot of work, and it came through a lot of stupidity too, because I had to do this unit, had to do so many things wrong in order to get anything right. It just has to screw up this way of these humans. They're like wind up toys, you wind them up, you send them out, and they bounce, they hit the wall. But most of them just stand there at the wall. They hit the wall and they just stand there. Little legs just to going, but they're not going anywhere. And some of these things, they're they got little rubber bumpers, and they'll bounce off the wall and go toward something else. Mm. But we don't have to stop. We don't have to bounce. We can just be together. And let's just be together and see what's up here. The body went through so much pain and so much just so much disability. I mean, you have to learn. It's hard to learn to not walk. Not the same thing as learning to walk. I did have to learn to walk again, but I never learned how to walk the same way I used to again, right? But I don't need it. I know I don't need it because it's not here. I don't have it. I don't have the energy that I used to have. And that's great. Why is it great? I don't know. But it just is because everything is exactly as it must be at every moment. This disability, what you would think of as the worst thing that ever hit this unit, really, it has been difficult. There have been dark times, but it's also brought the most light of anything because there's a constant resurrender. You have to surrender to every day. Sometimes you have to surrender to every moment because the pain will be great, or the strain will be great, or the exhaustion will be great, or whatever. Because it's just not easy out here. But it's not easy out here if you're able either. It's just not easy out here. This is relativity, and it can't be easy. It can't be. It's not. That's not the design. That's not the purpose of relativity. Well, I don't know what deep down purpose relativity is, but I believe that at least on one level, it's just to bring awakeness into the knowledge of itself. This all these rough and tumble things. They teach us what? They teach us, well, I can't run the world. And we may think we should be able to, may think that someday we will, but trust me, we won't. But we don't need to run anything. Everything's being run. Even these things are being run. And they're being run the only way that they can be. All of this is exactly as it must be. That includes this disability. That includes financial issues. It includes Betsy's physical issues too. I mean, we're not against the world, but some days it feels like it's against us, and it's not. It's not. It's not about us. It's just there's no us here. There's this us, so to speak, but then there's only one of us. You can't even talk right when we're trying to be clever with non-duality, can we? What I can tell you is that it's good to be out of the shadows. It's good to come out here and just talk to you, just as just one person to another person. That's all that's happening here. There's no guru. Well, there is a guru, but that guru is always here. And you don't need this one to find it. But as long as this one's helpful, use this one too, because it's a representative of you. It's your representative here on earth. And you're going to do what you want to do through it. And it's the unit's job to just try not to fight any more than it must. It's got to fight some. Why? Because that's the way of it. It's relativity. Things cannot go smoothly. See, this is the world of comparison. There's no hot if there's not a cold. There's no tall if there's not a short. There's not a great day unless there's also a crummy one. What is? I feel good. I feel great. I feel like crap. I really just can't even get out of bed. Those are opposites, right? And that's what this is all about. You're not an opposite. You don't even belong here. I appreciate your visiting me, but you're not really of this planet. But you're not of any planet, so there's no distance between us because ultimately we are the same thing. But I can guarantee that I can't really guarantee it, but I think I can guarantee that the perspective over there is quite different because there is no real viewpoint. I don't even know what kind of view it is, because you are your own view. I am my own view. I awakeness. I am this. I am all of this. I am all of this everywhere, but only right now, because there's not anything but right now. Well, it feels good to be talking to you again. It really does. To not have to put on a costume or put on a certain persona. I mean, I was not putting on a persona, that's just what came out. But when I couldn't put on that same persona, I didn't know that I could even talk to you. But now I see that I can. And I just thank you so much for listening to me, for being here, being part of this, and for all the other units that are involved in this today. I'm grateful for you to be here, because it wouldn't be anything without you. It really wouldn't, because you're everything too. It doesn't make sense, does it? No, and it's never going to make sense. It's not about making sense. It really isn't. It's not about making sense. It's just recognition. It's about recognition. Relativity is the perfect setup for you to come to notice yourself. But before you notice yourself as yourself, you get to have incredible adventures. You know, you need to you get to grow up. You get to go from a child to a teen or whatever, and to go from a teen to a real live young adult. You know, and all, you've gone to schools and had all kinds of education, and you've made lots and lots of friends, and or maybe you haven't made so much friends. Maybe you're not that type. You know, that's okay. I have made a lot of friends, but I also don't have a lot of close friends now, except for here, because I just don't really care to spend a lot of time talking about anything but this. And so lately, I haven't even felt like talking about this. So I really have been kind of like in a little nest or something of all of my own, with Betsy, of course, and the dogs. And they talk to me and they hear me and they love me. I like loving back. I love all of them back. And I'll love all of you back too. You all love me. Many of you don't recognize that yet because you think I'm something else. There isn't anything else. Here you are. This is it, right? We don't need to wait on anything anymore. We don't need to wait on the big day when enlightenment is going to happen to somebody, because that's never going to happen. Nobody ever woke up. Buddha never woke up. I know what he's talked about with being awake, and I understand why he used that terminology, but he never woke up. Whatever Siddhartha never woke up. Awakeness woke up through the Siddhartha unit. And when it did so in a brilliant fashion. And it did so with a type of energetic presence that drew other people. And they got to find out about really a similar teaching to what I'm teaching. Not the same. Not that I have any big arguments with the Buddha, but I don't even know what the Buddha necessarily said. It's been quite a while. We have a lot of books, but they didn't have any back then. So it was all word of mouth like this. And the deepest spirituality has always been just like this. One so-called person talking to another so-called person. Awakeness talking to awakeness. There's nothing else to talk. And there's nothing else to talk to. And we're talking always about awakeness. Because there's no other subject. If we talk about baseball, that's you. We talk about swimming or rowing or, doing anything. That's you. We talk about trees or grass or squirrels. That's you. It's all you. But I'm glad you're not always constantly aware of that, because it would make the experience. It's beautiful when it's unusual. It's beautiful when you have lived a relative life and you come to find out the truth of things. But we want this resistance to take place. Like we're talking about, don't resist. And yeah, don't resist when you don't. But until you don't, you will. And part of that resistance is thinking, I'm not supposed to be resisting this. I wrote somebody yesterday, a student, told them not to figure, not to worry about how an enlightened person would be handling their situation. Because we're both going to find out. Because there is no enlightened person, but awakeness is certainly coming through that unit. It's a beautiful unit, really is. It's so gracious and kind. A real expression of itself, full of love. And I love all my expressions. I'm kind of like you, I don't always know I love them right off. But with a little bit of time, I don't know that it's time. I don't experience time. The unit experienced time, but I don't know about time, but that's the only expression I can come up with, because this is an expression within relativity. So as much as I would like to be more direct than I am, it's impossible. This is relativity. And what I'm trying to present is, I say this is relativity. This is the perception of relativity. This is an experience of relative, meaning that I am here and this is relatively close if you compare it to a mountain over there. Relatively close, relatively far away, relatively small, relatively tall. It's all the world of comparison. The world of this and that. And it's an amazing experience. And I have thoroughly enjoyed my experience, other than when I was in total, complete agony from it. There have been times when a number of times when I've considered ending this experience through the Fred unit. It arose in the hospital a couple of years ago when this unit awoke from surgery, and at that point couldn't walk. I was not expecting that, and the world was just pain. But nothing ever stays forever. Those times did remain. They got a little better and a little better, and then they got a little worse. Once you recognize that it's all changing, you don't get too attached to it. my physical therapist was here today, and I told her, well, I'm just going through a period where there's more pain and stuff and more disability than normal. But it's just a period. It's not like I've stepped into a hole and I'm never going to come back and life is grim or whatever. It's not like that at all. And recognizing that that is not the truth, recognizing that this is a back and forth thing, and that my Betsy and I had, from the relative view, we had a terrible day yesterday. And today it all worked it out. It worked itself out. Now, we didn't do nothing. I mean, we didn't do anything because, we never do anything. But the units got busy, or hers did. My unit's always busy, just trying to keep food on the table and a roof over the house. So I have a big pocket knife collection, and I'm selling all of that. And on eBay, that's a lot of work. But I'm just grateful to have it, right? I'm grateful to have the money. Because the practice is not as busy as it used to be. I slowed it down first because I couldn't do it anymore. I used to have 4 sessions a day and 6 days a week. Unbelievable. And then I had 3 sessions a day, 6 days a week. And then I got to where physically I couldn't do that. So now I have sessions as often as I can. But I'm thinking I might be able to do more if I can get used to this guy holding forth, if you will. And I really don't ever hold forth. I answer questions with questions. That's my job. I don't have any answers, but I have a very high grade of questions. And it helps you, the other physical beings, at least apparent physical beings, watching this. It helps you to begin to see the trail of yourself, or even the glimpse of yourself, or even a full live experience of yourself, so to speak. And it can get to where you're just being yourself. And there's nothing out of the ordinary. It's all ordinary, but it's a spectacular grade of ordinary. I'll tell you that. And to help you find that, it seems to have been this unit's fate. How do we know? Because that's what it's been doing for the last 18 years or something. I mean, it hasn't been teaching for 18 years, but it's been teaching for, on one level or another, for about 15, which is a long time. I don't know how much of a contribution we've made, but that's none of my business. That's your business. It's my business to present this thing. It's not my business to get you to believe it or get you to experience it or take you over. I mean, if you want to come over, I can get you over. But the thing you got to realize is that there's no over. There's no barrier. The only barrier there is to you recognizing and being able to act and respond as awakeness is your belief that there is something else and that this ain't it. This isn't quite it. It might be close to it. It's pretty good it, but it's not it yet. But it is it. This is all there is, but this is much, much different than you think it is. It's not like what you know now is all there is. Oh no. And it's a funny progression because it's like a backwards progression. I sometimes call this the backwards teaching, but that's for a different reason, really. But in this case, it's it's backwards in the sense that we don't have to take a journey. We don't have to go out there and search for God or oneness or, you know, our Lord and Savior or, you know, Krishna or anything else. We don't have to look. You're it. And when I say it, I know you can't believe it, but you're in part of it. You are it. You're in it. You are it. I think you are in it is a way of speaking, but it's not true because there's not a specific separate thing. There's no separate things. There are things that look differently, and there are certainly different experiences, but it's all the same substance. It's just doing like this, like we were talking about, just like change, like sand on the beach. Same sand, but it's a castle, and then it's a ditch, you know. And the tides come in, they change things. People come along, they change things. Stuff washes up on the shore, that changes things. It changes the look of things. The look of things doesn't change things. You don't change. The units change. That they are vehicles of change. And when we're very, very lucky, they're vehicles of spiritual change. And this is the best kind of change, because the great thing is, I want to tell you, even if you're terribly disabled, there's something that nobody can take away, because you're never terribly disabled. Bodies are. And that counts. Boy, it counts. It's not you. You're not disabled. You're neither rich nor poor. I mean, but I don't know how you could ever call yourself anything but rich when all of this is you. Well, the only way you can be poor with all of this is to think that there's something else, that you would like to have that something else, or you'd like to be that something else, or you'd like to get somewhere else, right? And we do that a lot, you know. We have as much money as we have, and then we just know we should have more. Feels like that here. But everything is exactly as it must be. And what that stops, it stops suffering. We suffer from the lie. We don't suffer from truth. And I know everybody's actually scared of truth. But waking up is not as popular as you think it is. Because I see people lined up for it. But when it comes to them, the offering comes to them, most will say no. There was a time when I said no. So I understand it. And what I'm waiting for now is the people that say yes. And because the great thing is that if you're saying yes to this, you're in the right place. You're with the right person, so to speak. You can't be not right, or you can't be with anything that's wrong, because there's only this as it is. And once you get used to things being as they are, there's no further craving for things to be other than the way they are. You don't have any jealousy. You know, doesn't mean the human won't. Somebody starts paying a whole lot of attention to Betsy, I'm probably going to feel a little jealousy. I'm not going to be worried because I don't think she's going anywhere. But I would probably feel a little jealous if she was, especially, you know, if she was paying a little attention back. But there's nothing going on that's not supposed to be going on. There's nothing happening. And when I say supposed to be, I don't mean like it's supposed to be. That's the wrong way to say it, really. And I know that, but I still say it. everything is as it must be. It can't be other than like this. That's what these units can't get through their little heads. Is that the relativity is the world of comparison, and it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. Relativity is in the mind. There is no such thing as this and that. There's just this. And I don't know what the hell it is, and I don't care anymore what it is. I don't have any complaints about it. They start to arise, but they usually get knocked off their pedestal before they even are expressed. If they do get expressed, it won't be for long. The wisdom train will come and put my ass on it, whether I want to be on it or not. And then I got to notice that everything is exactly as it must be. So why would I complain at that when it's the way that it must be? It has to be exactly like this. It can't be otherwise. If it could be otherwise, it would be otherwise. But it can't. We're stuck with this. But we're not stuck with this. And we're not stuck in this. We are this. We are this. This is your body. I'm waving my hands right through your body right now. I feel a tickle. Yeah. Space is the body of God. It's not 1,000% true, but it's so true that so close to being true, we can use it as being true for a long, long time without being out of order. Space is the body of God. Everything's already inside of you. There's no outside. We think that we hear about outside forces. There aren't any. It's always inside forces that are being labeled outside forces because there's the belief in this and that and relativity and comparison. And the relative importance of things. Everything is exactly the same in the bottom line. So there's no beggar and no billionaire that's not you. So be careful. Be good to yourself. Be better to yourself than you're being now would be my advice. I mean, you've gotten pretty sloppy in your ignorance. Your ignorance is very costly within relativity. It counts. It counts a lot, damn it. Ultimately, of course, it doesn't matter because there's only you and you can't get out of order. But you can think you get out of order and then you suffer. You can think that there is some other way that things should be, and there's not. But the thought that there is, I just notice what, as long as there's another, that's what I want. I want more and I want other, and I want it now. You can't come up with a better recipe for suffering than that. And what's the cure for that? Getting everything? No, hell, how are you going to get everything? You are everything. You'll always be lacking as long as you're believing in the world of relativity that really doesn't even exist. It doesn't. There's nothing happening. Feels like it looks like we tell stories about it. We can be friends within it, everything else. But on the very, very deepest level, which most of us are not ready for that yet, but on the very, very deepest level, there's nothing happening here. So there's nothing wrong going on. There's nothing going on that couldn't be going on. It's not a matter of shouldn't. There's nothing going on that couldn't be going on, and there's nothing not going on that should be. This is the way things must be. And it's really okay. It's okay as long as you don't judge the fact that It's not okay. And you do that by believing that you're one of these little things. I believed I was one of these little things for a long, long time. Until this thing had been on the planet longer than half a century. Thank God I don't believe it now. Boy, there's a lot of upheaval now, isn't there? It's really a great comfort to realize that none of it actually affects me. It doesn't make me blind to the suffering of the world. I try to do what I can, but I'm not meant to do everything. How do we know? There's got to be some for you to do, because we experience separation even though there isn't any. But when you experience separation and you're constantly moving toward unity, further and further toward unity, it's just an expression moving toward it, just this. But if you're watching this video, you're trying. You're either here with me or you're trying to get here. And there's no here. It's not other. I don't, you can't talk about this. But you can see it, you can feel it, you can get it. And there's no better place for you to do so. Unless, there is. I mean, because this is not the place for everybody. But it was the place for this. And it looks to me like it's the place for that because you're here. So we'll talk again. I don't know when. I'm not really in charge because I had no idea that I was going to talk today to myself at this level. That's really Glenda's doing. So I'll have to get a switch to her. Thanks so much for dropping in. Not that you could drop out. But thanks so much for just taking a rest long enough to notice yourself, to hear yourself, to experience yourself. I really do love you because there's nothing but you. And I am that love. You are too. Just the one love. Thank you. Bye-bye.